Okay, I'm back and I'm trying it again. Just to see if I fixed that choppiness issue. Alright, so like I said, I hope everybody is having a great day so far. Sorry for a little bit of the lateness or the little bit of lag that you might be seeing. But the show must go on. I gotta keep on keeping on. I can't just not do nothing. Hey, that's what's up. Sitting there seeing people for the first time in a long time. Alright, so what we're going to be talking about today here on Expansion Pack is mental health. And we're talking about the rest aspect of mental health. We're not talking about endurance. We talked about endurance the week before last. Yeah, everything is running smooth. Yeah, we talked about endurance last week. Hey, what's up, Odessa? We talked about endurance last week. Well, strength last week and endurance the week before that. So, excuse me. Now we're going to be talking about rest. Now, with any good workout, you know that you need to get some rest afterwards for your muscles to rejuvenate and your body to bounce back along its way. So, same thing for your mental health aspect. You don't want to be going at it so hard that you just burn yourself out. And that's what'll happen if you just don't stop. Now, the reason why I'm talking about rest specifically for me is because when I'm doing this show, I'm going. And it's building my brand. It's building my name. But I'm still in need of a break or some time off. And so my time off is staying at home. It don't necessarily mean I'm gonna stay home and not do nothing. But what it does mean is that I'm gonna be home. Now, I may still be cleaning up. I still may be, doing a little bit of rearranging around the house, but I'm resting because I'm not out, I'm not about, and I'm just kind of relaxing at home. I'm just staying at home. So that's one way that I like to rest, and I needed to talk about it so that I can see it. So I wanted to incorporate it into today's topic, being that we all need some rest in between those workouts or in between those times where we trying to build up our mental strength or our physical strength for that matter. Now, we listened to Earl yesterday. Sorry for the grass cutting if it's a little loud, but the grass got to get cut. So we listened to Earl yesterday, and Earl told us a few things about faith and using faith to carry us along is what my message was for yesterday. We flow on the river of life, and the river of life is made up of faith. We're not flowing on water, flowing on faith. It keeps us going. So today I was looking for something for us to listen to, because sometimes it's a little bit difficult for me to give you all of this without having no references, no other points where you can see it from somebody else's point of view on what it is I'm trying to portray to you. So, hold on, let me fix this. So with that, I was looking for something for us to listen to outside of Earl today, because it would give us that extra angle that we need. So let me get 1 second, and I'm on my YouTube right now looking at thank you for everybody out there on TikTok who joined in and watching me right now. We just talking about a little bit of mental health. We trying to raise the mental health awareness. Apparently people feel like they just a body walking around out here, so we definitely need to have more conversations like this. So we're just talking about mental health and the rest aspect of mental health. So let me get us some something to listen to. So that we got some sort of reference on this thing other than just me talking about it. And then we'll get some definitions started. I just had an interesting thought. So I'm typing in, why is rest important? Mental health on YouTube. And I'm looking for just something simple and basic to kind of explain it to us. There you go. All right, so what we about to listen to is neuroscientist Andrew Huberman on the essential role of sleep in learning new skills. Y'all take a peek at this or listen to this real quick.
Not encouraging people to smoke, but you can take it in various forms, particularly gum. I know people take it in gum just for the nootropic benefit of it.
Yeah, I'm not encouraging people to take anything, but there's a very, very famous Nobel Prize winning neuroscientist who I went to his office to visit him in New York, and he chewed 7 pieces of Nicorette during that half-hour meeting. And I was like, what is going on here? And he said, well, first of all, it increases plasticity. And second of all, he has the belief, and this is not a clinical study, but he thinks that it can also hold off certain forms of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's.
Didn't Bertrand Russell, wasn't he like a famous smoker? Like, wouldn't even...
Oh, I don't know.
I think he wouldn't even go on a plane unless there was a smoking section, because he couldn't imagine not having his pipe for a certain amount of time.
Well, creatives, when smoking became less in vogue, I think creatives really suffered, because it's very clear that, so Nicorette is nicotine, and the acetylcholine binds to the nicotinic receptor. So when you take nicotine in cigarette form or in Nicorette form, you're actually increasing the release of the action of acetylcholine in the brain.
Yeah, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I have. And the only time I have is before shows, because I have friends that are comedians that would smoke, and I'd be like, give me one of them things. Let me see what's going on. And I smoked, and I was like, what? Receptor.
And the acetylcholine binds to the nicotinic receptor. So when you take nicotine in cigarette form or in Nicorette form, you're actually increasing the release of the action of acetylcholine in the brain.
Yeah, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I have. And the only time I have is before shows, because I have friends that are comedians that would smoke, and I'd be like, give me one of them things. Let me see what's going on. And I smoked, and I was like, whoa, dude, you get high off these things. This is crazy, particularly if you don't smoke cigarettes. You get this really weird high.
Well, your receptors have never seen that level of nicotine before, and they like that.
It's exciting.
Yeah. And so for those moments, your acetylcholine is like a spotlight. It brings your vision literally into this more kind of portrait mode where you can see more like a narrow window of what's going on. There are behavioral ways to access this too. Before a fight, if somebody's really ramped up, their world is they're not seeing everything. They're probably, I've never done the walk, of course, but probably walking out to the octagon, they're not seeing all the color of the hat of the woman in the corner. They're not relaxed, they're hyped up.
Right.
But that's a trigger for plasticity, because the brain needs some way to cue this plasticity process, to let itself know, because it's a self-learning organ, let itself know that something's really different. That's adrenaline. Something's changed. Then there's focus. What's changed? So in the jiu-jitsu example you gave earlier, it's the ability to focus on what the sequence is, what happens when, and okay, I did that correctly or I didn't do that correctly, but that's duration, path, and outcome again. And having acetylcholine and noradrenaline up, that sets the plasticity trigger. However, that doesn't guarantee that those synapses are going to change. It does not mean that you're necessarily going to learn.
Oh, no.
What guarantees that that process will be converted into literally the change in the connections between neurons, sometimes new neurons, but mostly the change in the strength of the connection, so that eventually you don't have to do duration path outcome, you can just be reflexive about it, is states of deep sleep and any state where you're not doing duration path outcome. So we know from 2 recent studies, some of this was done by my lab, but by other labs as well, in humans, which I think is important to distinguish between mouse and human where we can. A lot of the changes in these brain structures occurs after learning during deep sleep, in particular slow wave sleep. But it also occurs during periods of naps and shallow sleep, or even just periods where people deliberately decompress, where they're not focusing on any one thing in particular. So if we were going to kind of operationalize this process, it would be focus intensely, have an intense period of urgency, and then access the deepest rest you can where you're not thinking about anything, where space and time becomes very fluid.
So stress in that case, post-exercise or learning session, would actually hinder your ability to grow and get better.
Absolutely. And elite performers like elite military, elite athletes, I'm sure you're familiar with this, they understand thinking about anything, where space and time becomes very fluid.
So stress in that case,
I had to hear that again. Sorry about that. Let me hear that again real quick.
Focus intensely, have an intense period of urgency, and then access the deepest rest you can where you're not thinking about anything, where space and time becomes very fluid.
So stress in that case, post-exercise or learning session, would actually hinder your ability to grow and get better.
Absolutely. And elite performers like elite military, elite athletes, I'm sure you're familiar with this, they understand that the ability to toggle back and forth between these high alert, high attentional states and deep rest is not just the key to performing what you can already do, it's also the ability to get better over time.
Okay, so that was neuroscientist Andrew Huberman on the Joe Rogan Experience, and they were talking about sleep and the role of sleep in learning new skills. So a couple things that they spoke about that I want to talk about is how being able to toggle back and forth between the state of being asleep and deeply focused on something is a skill that some of the elite people that we know about use. The reason why I want to focus on that is because if you can't go into that rest state, as we just heard, then there's no chance of you rebuilding or forming, putting into place those new things that you just picked up. So it's like you went out shopping, you got all your shopping bags, you came home, you got all this new stuff, and you still don't have a place to put it because you didn't prepare and take the time out to clear out the space that you needed to put it somewhere. That is important when we're talking about our mental health. The reason why, like we just heard, is because if you go into a stressful situation, whether it be working out or just an actual real life, one of your day-to-day real life circumstances, it's a workout. And once you're done working out, your body needs that time to recover from that situation, from that event, from that workout that you just did, in order to incorporate all of those new skills, all of those new things you just picked up along the way, all those new factors. So let's keep going real quick. Let's listen to some more videos. As a matter of fact, before we do that, I want to define rest. Rest. All right, so the definition of rest is, let me put some music back on. So the definition of rest is cease work or movement in order to relax, refresh oneself, or recover strength. Be placed or supported so as to stay in a specified position. In an instance or period of relaxing or ceasing to engage in strenuous or stressful activity. Yes. Speak up. Well, you're going to have to wait until I'm done. Maybe this much. All right, so I'm going to read that first one again. So, rest. Cease work or movement in order to relax, refresh oneself, or recover strength. Be placed or supported so as to stay in a specified position. And then the noun is an instance or period of relaxing or ceasing to engage in strenuous or stressful activity. All right. And they have a definition for the music, the way that you would use it in music, but we don't necessarily need that one. The one as a verb, the definition as a verb, cease work or movement in order to relax, refresh oneself, or recover strength, is the one we're going to go with for our talk today. And the noun, an instance or period of relaxing or ceasing to engage in strenuous or stressful activity. So if a ball, let's look at it like this. If a boulder was to roll down a hill and that hill goes on forever, that boulder would continuously pick up speed. Now, the only way for us to slow that boulder down is, kind of level it off or for it to run into something. Now, if you want to get all of that potential energy from that boulder, go ahead. You can stand in front of it and you'll get run over by it. But if you want to gradually just take away that potential energy from that boulder, you can let it level off. It'll slow down gradually, and then it'll come to a stop. It'll come to a rest. Now, in life, you don't want to be the runaway boulder that just is smacking everything. You do want to gradually slow down and come to a rest in certain situations. Now, some things that you got to kind of like just power through, run over, whatever it is. You got to be that runaway boulder. But some things can be solved easily, well, a lot better by resting on them. And this is what I mean. If we take that same boulder and or that same heavy object and we needed to stop something from moving, we could rest that heavy object on it and it would keep it from moving. It'd keep it in place, so to speak, like a paperweight. You put a paperweight on the paper and the paper ain't gonna fly away. So, hey, what's happening, Zanita67? Good to have you in here with us today. If we got anybody else out there that's watching right now, good day to you, great day to you. I'm gonna check my comments real quick just to make sure I'm not missing nothing. Appreciate you, Big John, on the follow out there on TikTok. I appreciate that. I hope y'all are enjoying and liking this talk right now. Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to check and see if I'm live on YouTube and check my comments just to make sure there's nothing. All right, nothing on YouTube and also Facebook. They don't never post the Facebook one sometimes, so let me just do a discount double check on that and we good money after that. All right, so like I said, that same heavy object that could be a runaway boulder or whatever that could run you over or smash you, or just potentially destroy or be destructive on the things in its path, could also be used to stop some things from running away. And so the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I want to show how rest in its various forms is important. Now, the first example I gave is the runaway boulder. You don't want to get in front of that thing. It's not at rest. It's a heavy object. It's not at rest, and you don't want to get in front of it. Period. So the next example I want to give is you just ran you a marathon, whether it be figuratively or literally. You just ran you a marathon, and what would you want after a marathon? Yeah, water. But also you would want rest. And the rest is for what though? What do we rest for? Is it recovery? Is it just for just so we don't have to put so much activity on our body continuously? What is the rest for? All right, so in order for us to get a better picture on that answer, I am not going to speak on it myself. I'm going to get an expert to speak on it. All right, this is Psych Hub on YouTube. There's a small video about sleep and mental health. All right, let's listen up.
I've been taking care of my mom for a long time. Trying to balance work, my children, and caring for my mom is a lot. At the end of each day, it's hard to relax and stop my mind from worrying, let alone sleep. I'm so tired of being tired.
Since my wife's diagnosis, I must work more hours to support our family. I work long days, and I take on caregiver responsibilities too. I drink coffee to help me stay energized for my wife's appointments. Even though I feel exhausted at the end of each day, I just can't sleep at night. My mind continues to race when I want to rest.
My son means the world to me. I want to do everything I can to support him and get his mental health back on track. I gave up my gym membership and skipped most of my book club gatherings. I just feel tired all the time.
Insufficient sleep may have negative effects on one's mental health. Caring for others should also include taking care of ourselves. Getting enough sleep is a vital part of self-care. Most adults need between 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. But life can sometimes get in the way of getting the recommended hours of quality sleep. Sleep deprivation can occur when one doesn't get enough sleep on a consistent basis. Sleep deprivation may lead to increased irritability, lack of concentration, difficulty in making decisions, and forgetfulness. It may also contribute to additional physical health problems. Talk with your doctor to learn more about the risks related to lack of sleep. Here are tips that may help to improve the quality of your sleep. Create a quiet, cool, dark sleep space. Avoid electronics before or while in bed. Avoid stimulants like caffeine late in the day. Some lifestyle changes that can also benefit your sleep and mental health include creating a calming routine before bed, such as taking a warm bath, reading a book, or doing a relaxation exercise. Trying to keep a consistent sleep schedule. Waking up and going to bed at the same time each day, even on the weekends.
Since I established my own bedtime routine, I fall asleep faster and I feel more rested during the day.
Cutting out my afternoon coffee and better managing my time helped me get a better night's sleep.
Now that I'm better rested, I find myself more present and I'm able to enjoy more time with my family.
Changing a few simple habits and making sleep a priority can be a winning combination for your own self-care, as well as for those you care for. Take the time to sleep on it.
So I wanted to give us a contrast to Joe Rogan by giving us something simple. This is a simple video from Psych Hub, a channel on YouTube. So they are professionally licensed in the U.S. So Psych Hub on YouTube, just to give us a simple 3-minute understanding on why sleep and your mental health. Well, sleep is important to your mental health. Now, it said basic information. It didn't say nothing that we didn't already know. in our day-to-day lives, whether you be a kid or you be an adult. Little kids, they stay up all night playing a video game, and then eventually they need to go to bed and get up in the morning. Well, get up the next day so they can go to school or whatever, and they're not ready. So we see it. Adults, we know what we do in the evening time, and then we need to get up and go to work or wherever it is, and we may not be ready if we didn't get the right rest. That's simple and plain. This is what I want to approach this from this angle. Okay. I want to approach it from this angle. So when you look at the monk or the Buddhist student or the priest or just someone who practices meditation in their day-to-day life or prayer, either one will suffice for this example. When we stop to pray or we stop to meditate, the key word in my sentence is stop. And you can liken stop to resting. Now hold on, I gotta go back and read the comments that I had come across at the same time. So Zanita67 said, and I was asking the question of what is rest? Why do we rest? Rather, and rejuvenation, restoration, to restore what we have depleted, and recovery. Now, it's two things I want to talk about. I only got about an hour and a half today, so I want to kind of get right into it. It's two things I want to talk about with that, and I'm glad that you said you did say those words, Zanita67. Appreciate you. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, like I started with the monk or the person who's praying or meditating and stopping. That is, stop in that sentence could be replaced with rest. They are resting because there's no strenuous activity being put on their body, their physical body. There's no activity, there's no motion. And we're talking about praying in the strict sense of stopping, bowing your head, and praying. We're talking about meditating in the strict sense of stopping, sitting down, laying down, or standing in one place and meditating or breathing or thinking or whatever it is that you do when you meditate. And the reason why is because I want to show the rest of it all. Now, the difference between that rest and the sleep rest. Let me get some music back here, kicking in the back, in the bake. Now, the difference between that rest and sleep rest is awareness. Now, let's take our vision, for example. Okay. Now, you walk into a room full of people, and in that room full of people, there's a person with a red hat, person with a blue hat on. Now, you see the person with the red hat before you see the person with the blue hat, and you stay in the room the entire time. And when you leave, someone asks, "Did you see the guy with the red with that blue hat on?" Now, whichever exit. Okay, you come in, you see the red hat, but you don't see the blue hat. When you're leaving, someone asks, "Did you see that guy with the blue hat on? It was crazy." And you're like, "Well, I didn't see it. How did I miss that?" And you leave and you go on about your business, right? Now, in that example, what I want to point out is, if you were to go to sleep, it's like missing the blue hat. Like, you're the guy with the blue hat. You like, yo, how did I miss that? I woke up and I'm back here now. That's what happens when you go to sleep. You like, I'm in this room. I see this red hat over here. I see all of these people. And now I leave the room and you telling me that it was somebody in there that I didn't see and that you saw, and it was just so amazing and all of this stuff. That's just like sleeping. You were there, you know you were there, but you missed something there. Now, when you're resting or when you're meditating and you're praying or praying or in that sense, you're taking your awareness and putting it in a place where it's it's outside of your physical. It's like you pack up your physical, you sit right here real quick, I'm gonna be right back, and you go into your prayer or you go into your meditation, and your body, your physical, is at rest. Now, when you go to sleep, like I said, you are getting that same rest, and your body is still in that same state where you packed up and you be right back. The difference is the awareness of it. Now, you're aware that you're praying and you're aware that you're meditating. At a certain part of sleep, you're no longer aware you're sleeping. And that's why lucid dreams are so important, or they're such a big thing, because it's you being aware that you're sleeping, and that your body, your physical body, is at a state of rest so deep that there's another awareness going on outside of it. Now, we'll go back to the top of this thing. You have prayer and you have meditation, and then you have sleep. The difference between the two is the awareness. You're aware you're meditating, you're aware you're praying. However, when you're sleeping, you may not be aware that you're sleeping. Now, the reason why I wanted to point those two things out, or the difference between those two things, is what do you get from each? Yeah, Zanita67, if you're listening still, take that one in. What do you get from each? When you praying or you meditating, what are you getting from that you're not getting from when you're sleeping? It's the same, some of the same processes, but what are you getting from one that you're not getting from the other? And I'm gonna find us one more video to listen to, and this one is just gonna be for fun right now. All right, so let's see. I don't want to get one too long. Excuse me. Under 4 minutes is good. Okay, let's see what this one says. So this video is by Divine by Design, YouTube channel. Divine by Design Inc. I'm sorry. And the name of the video is Why Lucid Dreaming is Vital to Mental Health. Let's see what they got to say about this thing right here. All right, here we go.
So to that point, we are launching this workshop that sort of is the brainchild of yourself and your younger brother, Drew, who's also here with us today. And so I'm excited to hear from you a bit, really kind of why dreaming? Why start with dreaming? I mean, it's of all the things that you could start a live event for, and all the things we've seen launch in the last year in this new sort of Zoom business paradigm, like dreaming, and why? Like how did this come to be?
Really, the reason that we decided to begin with a dreaming workshop is because the idea of dreaming is actually something that every human being is already a subject matter expert at, right? The sleep process is so integral to the way that we cycle and recycle the different chemicals in our body, and how we go through our nightly catharsis of putting our bodies into a position where we're safe, and then where we can start to address and deal with some of the unintegrated energy from our day. But it's oftentimes something that's overlooked, the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind, but it has very, very real physical effects on the body, from releasing either stress hormones or potentially endorphins. The idea of this workshop is that the experiences that we are having, each individual is having, is something of merit, something that's important to not only your peace of mind, but the health of your body, how you're dealing with and interacting in the different relationships that you're in. And really, it's just a holistic approach to looking at the way that we move from the peripheral of our awareness into, a more inward gaze. To be absolutely honest with everyone right now, I'm usually stressed out most of the time. Bear with me. But the idea of it is that there are certain techniques that I've learned through my studies that have allowed me to manage those stresses and to continue to maintain. And with the advent of this pandemic, people being put into a position where they're being forced to look internally and to really deal with a lot of that unintegrated energy. Not everybody has the tools, especially people of lower income. So really what we're trying to do is to create a platform to help people to come into their own potential, to have a better control and to feel more empowered in their day-to-day experiences. And really that starts with the things that we would rather not say, we would rather not show, and that a lot of times we don't put a lot of love and attention into, which is the unintegrated energy in our subconscious minds.
And there you go. I think just for me listening to that kind of opened up a different pathway for me, because of him saying you put yourself into this sort of ritualistic mode. I don't know how else to say it other than you go through this process, whether you like it or not, of getting your body to sit still for however many hours you have to leave. And I say you in the version of you at its purest form. And that you, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it feels like other than outside of your physical. But you know what it looks like, and you know what it feels like outside of your physical, because we all do dream. Now let me go to these comments real quick. It's funny, he said the same thing in there. A peace of mind from Odessia DW. Yeah, I saw the typo. LOL, sorry for the grammatical error. Maybe with prayer and meditation, you can get some clarity in some situations. Oh, Zanita67 said, I agree, peace of mind. Now, I will say this. Yes, me and my best friend TJ, we had this debate about meditation and prayer, and he gave me the way he felt about it, and I gave him what I felt about it. And it came from us, me saying that it's kind of the same thing, and he was like, no, it's different. And we had our talk, but that's neither here nor there. The point I want to bring up is that you can get some clarity from both. When you're asleep and when you're praying and in meditation, you're getting clarity from both of those things, because we know a dream could just have you seeing something that you didn't see. And the only difference is, like I said, is how much knowledge or awareness you've gathered on the situation of either. So you got all this data on prayer and meditation. If you gather that same amount of data on sleep, then you could be 10 steps ahead, 10 steps further ahead, if you put that effort into that part of the research too as well. Because like I said, you can get clarity from both. Now, the difference between the two is the awareness. Now, why am I focusing on him saying, oh yeah, you put your body into this safe space and then you go? Because when I look at, I'm gonna give you some contrast that I found in my life. So one of the things that we have as a luxury here now in civilization that our ancestors might not have had if they were in the environment, more exposed to the environment, is that good night's rest. So if you live in where you have to build a stick house, or you have to sleep on with no covering at all, how much of a good night rest are you going to get? If somebody always has to be on watch, how much of a good night rest are you going to get? So those dreams and that, well, first of all, let me take a step back. That sleep that you actually get, that is sleep, oh, it becomes so much more precious. Not necessarily vital, but precious. Vital meaning it's like, yo, I need this in order for me to operate. No, what you need to do is you need to stay awake because something might attack us while you sleeping. That is vitality right there. We don't need you sleeping. We need you awake. So that being awake is more vital in that sense. While now we looking at it at our current state and current level of civilization where it's more vital for us to be asleep. Because if you get that good night's rest, you can go about your day better. Now, that's a good contrast only because we can see that back maybe some time ago that you had to have someone to be awake, and it wasn't an exception. Now, imagine you're the guy that's designated, or the person in your civilization or your culture that is designated to dream. That's a thing. That is definitely a thing. You are the one who's going to go to the other side and get the information from the other side for us through your dreams. You would have people that protect you, that stay awake to protect you while you dream. And in that light and in that example, dreams become way more profound and way more vital to existence. But I guess you would have to kind of master existence in some form or fashion to be able to get that luxury or have access to that luxury. Otherwise it comes in spurts and fits. Whereas so I read this book called Wolf Brother with the boys, and in Wolf Brother there's a Indian band, or a Native American band, where Wolf Brother's dad is the one who is the medicine man. So he does all of the medicine and he gets the readings, but everyone else, as a rite of passage, they have their own spirit journey, and then they have their own vision, and they tell everybody about the vision on their spirit journey, so on and so forth. Now, can you see how that right there is important to this culture? It's important to this culture that you have a dream. Sorry. It's important to this culture that you have a dream. Without that dream, without that vision, we can't go forward as this culture. We need to know when you get to your manhood, womanhood, your rite of passage moment, that you can see this is important. In the dream, maybe, I think Wolf Brother dream was like he was riding 5 horses and he brought the horses back, he found them, and it was given to him metaphorically, but everything that was happened in the dream happened literally in life. He just had to get to that point. So with both of those examples, you can see how being awake is more vital to survival or existence than being asleep. And then in the other one, you can see how having a dream and being asleep is just as vital as being awake. So is that essential rest? You got to elaborate on that one just a little bit and tell me what you mean when you say, is that essential rest? I'm going to say this. If within the culture you designate somebody to sleep, it got to be something there. Just like the people who we know are meditating right now on top of the mountain. It's something there that is not being tuned in, or you're not able to access if you're not doing this particular practice or this particular exercise. So I do want us to keep on going with listening to our videos. Before we go into another one, you said recovery. Now, the reason why I like that word is because when you recover from something, that means you were damaged or you just needed repair. Now, the body, we look at it and we be like, all right, you 60 years old, so your body should be doing this. And if we don't see the body doing that at that age, we like, well, what are you doing different that I'm not doing? And we tend to look at it and say that, hey, the body is breaking down over time. Well, how can I combat that? And it's so hard to combat, but it never made any sense to me how as we get older, we're wearing down. Now, I look at it from the scientific point of view of saying that every atom, or not every atom, I'm sorry. Every element in the periodic table or every known element has a half-life, or it has a certain amount of time that it breaks down. Let's just think about it like water or ice out in the sun. Eventually, the ice is going to melt, in turn, break down, and eventually the water is going to evaporate, and eventually the gas of the water or the steam of the water, well, it'll just keep going and going and going and going. And so we tend to look at our body as such, like, hey, we getting older, we breaking down more and more and more and more. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because recovery happens just as fast as it seemed like we breaking down. Now, let me explain. If you get a cut, it's not going to heal instantly, but we see it in movies on how that is something that humans or people would really, really, really love to have, because you don't want to sit and wait for something to heal for 6 months, and now you down and out and you can't go to work. You would love to and then bounce right back. Unfortunately, we know that that's not one of the capabilities that we have. However, it is a slow process, and I don't know how to speed that process up. But if you were to get injured, your body fixes itself. It don't call somebody down there to get it done, like how you would have to if you break something. You got to call somebody to fix it, or you got to fix it yourself. But it ain't gonna fix itself. Your body fixes itself. If you were to cut yourself and you bandage it properly and you take care of it properly, it's gonna fix itself. It's gonna grow back whatever it lost. And so that right there has always fascinated me. I don't care if it was a month, 2 months, whatever. It's gonna heal itself. Now, we know we can't regrow limbs. That's something completely different. But we do know that we can regrow skin. If you were to lose a toenail, it could regrow. If you cut your hair, it's gonna regrow. So the recovery part of rest has always fascinated me, because if you were to have a fever or you be sick and you can't move, the doctor or whoever it is that's tending to you would tell you, hey, you need to get some rest. And that rest replenishes you. It rejuvenates who you are. And that is amazing. That is amazing to me. I don't have no other words for it. So with that being said, we're gonna listen to another one real quick, and I got about like 15 to 20 more minutes with this thing, with the show today, and we're gonna get up out of here. So I don't know how y'all feel about her, but I love me some Oprah. So we're gonna watch Oprah talk about the difference between meditation and prayer on her show Super Soulful Sunday. This one is gonna strike some debate. All right, there you go.
I think a lot of people misunderstand meditation. When I first started my school in South Africa, the first thing I wanted was for the girls to be taught meditation. Got a lot of pushback from parents who didn't understand it, who thought it was, you know, about levitating, or that I was trying to bring in some kind of voodoo or that whatever to the girls, because they misunderstood it. They thought it was going to conflict with their religious beliefs. Will you speak to that?
Yeah, well, meditation is, first of all, part of every spiritual tradition, okay? When you still your mind, be still and know that I'm God, okay? Yes. So it's part of every tradition in the world. In Christianity, they have something called centering prayer, which is used by Benedictine monks, and that's very similar to the mantra meditation, very similar. There are breathing meditations in every tradition. There are body awareness meditations in every tradition, and there are variations of mantra meditation. It has nothing to do with belief or ideology or doctrine. It's a simple mental technique to go to the source of thought. And recently we've been teaching it to inner city kids in Queens and in the Bronx, along with a program that we have called the Urban Yogi, and these kids love it. They're practicing hip-hop, yoga, and meditation.
I think that the kids respond so strongly to it because they remember that they already remember that there's something deeper, you know? They come
no
in,
struggling to learn. All you have to do is remember.
They come in trailing that. So how is meditation different from prayer? Can they be one and the same?
Prayer is your speaking to God,
Yeah.
and meditation is allowing the Spirit to speak to you. But it speaks in silence, and it then manifests as intuition, inspiration. You know, the word inspiration means to be in spirit, enthusiasm, on theos, to be in touch with God. So prayer, and in the Bronx, along with a program that we have called the Urban Yogi.
Sorry, I had to hear that again, so I rewinded it.
Hip-hop, yoga,
Y'all check that out.
I think that the kids respond so strongly to it because they remember that they already remember that there's something deeper, you know? They come
no
in,
struggling to learn. All you have to do is remember.
they come in trailing that. So how is meditation different from prayer? Can they be one and the same?
Prayer is your speaking to God,
Yeah.
and meditation is allowing the Spirit to speak to you. But it speaks in silence, and it then manifests as intuition, inspiration. You know, the word inspiration means to be in spirit, enthusiasm, on theos, to be in touch with God. So prayer is going that way, and meditation is coming back this way.
Yes, Lord. Yes. I saw you over there, Zadita 67. You felt that one. I felt that one too. That was actually way better than how me and TJ, we was sitting talking, and you know, we really couldn't nail nothing down. We was like, man, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. But my man's, he just kind of buttoned that up for me. Prayer is you speaking to God. Meditation is the Spirit speaking to you, and it speaks in silence, and it manifests itself as inspiration, and that's what it means. You're in spirit. Ooh, 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 ooh. Shake my bones to the core. I really enjoyed that one. So, not to get on too much of a tangent, but I think I have found my niche with this. With expansion pack. So the reason why I do expansion pack is because I started this thing out playing the game, and I spent hours playing the game, just playing the game. So expansion pack is me expanding beyond that. Yeah, you see me playing the game, but also I'm more than that. So let's expand out and see what else I'm about, and let's dig into some of these topics as well. Now, excuse me, another thing about this is that I'm not a guru. I'm not some professional psychic. So a lot of this information is coming from my own personal testimony. And within that, I have found my niche, which that would be having some sort of professional or pulling up these videos. So I really enjoyed that one. I think I want to grab one more to just kind of round this whole thing out. Deep focus. Let's go back to the search real quick. Let's see what this young lady has to say. So this is Indigo, the holistic nurse. Now I want to start from the beginning of her video, but we're gonna go skip the intro and go to the definition that she's giving. Like I said, this is Indigo, the holistic nurse on YouTube. Y'all can go check her out, and let's see what she's saying.
So according to Oxford, prayer is a solemn request for help or expression of thanks addressed to God or an object of worship. So you can pray whether it's you believe in the universe, whether you believe in religion and gods, whether it's whatever type of religion it is, or if it's just your spirituality. Usually prayer comes across as a request, like you're asking for something. So when I think about prayer, I usually think about someone asking or praying to God. Like you'd be like, God, please let this happen for me. Please let me get this new job. You can pray to God, you can pray to your ancestors, you can pray to certain deities and different things like that. So prayer is asking for something or a request. It can also be your gratitude prayer, where you're just saying thank you to the universe for the plants. Thank you for the oxygen that comes off from the trees. Thank you for the grass that helps me to ground, you know? So there's a lot of things that you can say thank you for, and that is a form of prayer. A lot of times people associate prayer with religion, and a lot of religious people do use prayer, but it is not only for a certain religion or people who are religious. Anyone can pray. Now let's dive into the definition of meditation. So according to
I like that anyone can pray.
Merriam-Webster, because I didn't like Oxford's definition of meditating. It's like the act of meditation is the act of meditating, which really wasn't enough for me and for me to give you. So according to Merriam-Webster, meditated or meditating or to meditate is to engage in contemplation or reflection. It is also to engage in mental exercise such as concentration, when we think about just paying attention to our breaths. So such as concentration on one's breathing or repetition of a mantra for the purpose of reaching a heightened level of spiritual awareness. So meditation is going in. It's going in deep. It's about reaching a level of spiritual awareness. It's connecting to your spiritual body, that God body within you, honey. Because we are all gods and goddesses. So the thing is, we do not need to pray to anything outside of us, or meditate to anything outside of us rather, because when you meditate, it's like you're paying more attention to what's going on within you, not anything external. So like the most common meditation, which is mindful meditation, you actually just kind of focus on that one thing, your breath, or the birds chirping, or the sound of the ocean, or just one thing, and you just allow your mind to be clear without thinking about something. And that's just one form of meditation. As we know, there are several types of meditation, which I've kind of touched on a few, but there is also several types of prayers. So prayer and meditation has that in common. Meditation has shown to reduce anxiety and help you gain self-control. Also, prayer has shown to do this as well. Meditation and prayer have both been shown to help with concentration. Prayer and meditation has a lot of similarities, but they're also very different. When you think about prayer, you're going to think about praying to something outside of you or giving thanks to something outside of you. But you can also thank yourself too, which is a form of prayer, saying, thank you for my legs, for moving and having the mobility to grab and walk and do things.
I like what she said when she chose
you
to.
do not have to be religious.
Yep, there you go.
Or spiritual only to meditate. A lot of times people think, oh, I'm a Christian, I'm religious, I can't meditate, and that is so far from the truth. And you think also as a spiritual being that, oh, I'm spiritual, I can't pray, that's what religious people do.
Right.
These are so far from the truth. They are common myths associated with meditation and prayer.
So I really like the fact that both of those people that I just played and we just listened to said the exact same thing about prayer and meditation. Now, Zanita 67, yes. So such great information. Yes, it is. Because once you have spoken to God, at some point you need to sit. Look at that. Look how we expanding right here. I really love hosting this show. Sometimes I do sit back and I be like, man, is anybody even getting anything out of this? And then my spirit will speak to me like, boy, you better get out there. You better teach. You better reach. No matter. Don't matter. So yeah, such great information, because once you have spoken to God, at some point, I'm doing it again. At some point you need to sit and meditate. Yes. So that you can hear. So you can hear what the Spirit says. Beautiful insight. Just like they said, when you pray, you're speaking and asking and talking, and when you meditate, you are receiving. I didn't have that up until just now. So within that, though, let me give you another little taste. Within that, you find your rest. You heard what I just said? Yeah, my bad. It's a delay. You're going to like that one, though. Yes, within that, you find your rest. Oh, man, I really enjoyed this talk today. Quick story. So, I find myself at a point where things don't stay the same. They just keep getting better and better and better and better. And I hope that for everybody that's listening, and I hope that for anybody who goes back and watch this, and I just hope that for everybody in general, that your days and your time is getting better and better and better, and not dwindling away. Because what's the point of anything that we're doing if we're just dwindling away? There's no recovery period. There's no upgrade. There's no level up. There's no extension. There's no nothing that is bringing us closer to where we want to be. We just destroying ourselves as we live day to day. As we take every breath, it's destroying our body. As the sun hits my skin, it's just destroying me. I'm just going to get old and wrinkly. Is that what we're doing here? I don't think so. So yes, this was a beautiful talk, just to bring out of it rest. Within your rest, you're still. You're not moving. You're not taking on any strenuous activity. And in that rest, whether you're aware or unaware, you're listening and you're speaking. You're calling and receiving. You're sending and receiving. You're getting and giving. I really love to believe that we all are radioactive. Keywords being radio and active. A radio receives signals as well as a radio can send signals. So in your rest, while you're resting and you're rebuilding, use that time for reflection. Use that time for meditation, because we found out today that even though you're not religious, that doesn't mean you can't pray. And even if you are religious, that doesn't mean you can't meditate. because meditating is just sitting still and listening, or sitting still and resting. Prayer is to ask for something, is to reach out for something. So you can pray, you can reach out and you can ask. You don't have to be like Jehovah Jireh. All right, continue to do what you're doing. Someone is listening. Maybe not now, but later. Thank you, Mom. If you feel it is necessary, someone else feels the same. Yes, I definitely do. A lot of the stuff I think day to day, I have conversations with myself on it. And so when you see me on here doing Expansion Pack, I'm still talking to myself because I feel like the information was like, wow, it's so profound. But I have an audience now, so I appreciate that, Zanita67. You are wondrous help here. It's my #1 subscriber right now. It's the number for first subscriber. Thank you for always tuning in and always checking us out here on DGTA TV and Expansion Pack. And also, y'all can catch Laylo Brown Presents Identity Groove Collective on tonight from 7 to 9. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I'm gonna leave us. I'm gonna pull us out on one more good video about rest and recovery. As we go out, and I really feel like having these videos and these professionals come on and speak alongside me is, whew, y'all let me know if you'd like it too. Alright, I couldn't find what I wanted, so I'll type this one in. Let's see what he got to say. All right, so this is 19 Keys. He is an activist. I don't know how to really describe him, but I did find him. He is with the Earn Your Leisure podcast, or it's a channel on YouTube. That's Earn Your Leisure, and this is 19 Keys. I'm just kind of skip forward and see what he's talking about. Let me see if I can get it. Don't hold on, boy. All right, the effectiveness of meditation, mindfulness and meditation. All right, we're going to talk about that. We're going to listen to him talk about that.
Volume to your prefrontal cortex and shrinks your amygdala. The exact opposite of stress, or trauma, whatever you want to call it. The exact opposite of childhood abuse and neglect, right? The exact opposite of the violent and aggressive brain. So that's that's going up the hill in the second act. Now I reached that midpoint. At my midpoint, I need to switch it up a bit. It needs to be related to what I went up for, right? But it needs to be a different flavor. So I hit the midpoint, and now it's time to tell you stories where meditation actually was effective. So one of the most violent prisons in Mexico, okay, they had a prison riot, and in that one riot, they killed 44 people. That's a high murder rate. If 44 people died in Toronto over the course of the year, that would be a bad year. You know what I'm saying? They did that in one riot. Okay, so they started meditating, all the prisoners and all the guards. And after that, they did not have any more extreme violence. Right? Not a bad one. There is a school in San Francisco, a middle school. Again, one of the most violent neighborhoods in the city. One time the kids came to school and there were, I think, 3 dead bodies on the playground. Okay? So of course, that energy gets into the school. The kids are always fighting. It's just chaos in the school at all times. Just the grades are bad. The violence is bad. The attendance is bad. They start a meditation program. Grades go up. attendance goes up, happiness goes up. Some of the worst performing students become their best performing students. Just the whole school environment changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that gets you to that your final bit, right? In a movie, what would normally happen is you go up, right? Fun and games. Then the bad guys close in. This would be the part where the big giant guy comes out the shadows and chases you around. You hit a low mark, which is that someone normally dies. Okay. For us in the TED Talk, it becomes, well, what are we going to do with this information, right? And then your finale, and then the finale was bringing meditation, what the mission is of Operation Prefrontal Cortex. Bringing meditation into our schools, into the community, into the correctional system, and to the police, to our first responders, our police, and all them that deal in this high stress jobs, and let that react. The TED Talk was really well received. When we put it on Instagram, for about a good month, every time I left the house, someone would come up to me and say, yo, I saw the TED Talk. Did any of y'all in here see that TED Talk? Yeah. And then we started getting real, unrelated, a school in Malton, which is kind of a city. Is Malton a city, or is it like a town? Is it a town? It has a sign that says "Welcome to Malton," but you know what I'm saying? It's Malton's. You never meet anyone from Malton outside of Malton. Have you ever been somewhere and be like, someone say, "I'm from Malton"? It just doesn't happen. It's a weird town. But anyways, Malton. we love Malton, but it's a rough town, and they've had really bad violence. In one of our largest shootings, 144 rounds in one shooting happened out there. And a young kid, Jonathan Davies, got killed. He was just waiting to get picked up by family, unrelated to anything that was going on. And it really hit that community hard. And one of the teachers, she has a program called GLE, right? A leadership program. And she wanted to introduce meditation to the kids. And of course, a bunch of black kids in the hood are like, please, we meditate, what are you talking about? So she used that TED Talk to get them open to the idea. And seeing someone that looks like them, again, coming from the entertainment side, someone who works with people they look up to, it opened the door. And then when the science was presented, they said, all right, we'll give it a shot. And then they started reaching out to us like, yo, we're meditating, it's different. It really, I feel better, I feel calm, I don't get angry the way I used to. It really impacted their lives. And we ended up making a documentary about them, right? So the full circle is we made a documentary called Quiet Minds, Silent Streets. And it's funded by Headspace. We're winning a lot of awards at different film festivals. Yeah. And now they are that piece of entertainment that I can use, or we can use, to show other kids and other people.
He said Quiet Minds. Hold on, Silent Streets. Yep, Quiet Minds, Silent Streets. Y'all go check that out. I'm pretty sure it's either on YouTube or somewhere that you can watch it.
People, and have them say, oh.
Right, some proof, some studies.
I'll try that out.
That's interesting.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it right there for y'all today. I appreciate y'all tuning in. This has been a great talk, great Thursday talk for mental health. We talked about rest. We talked about meditation. We talked about prayer. We defined what they were and what they are. Go back and listen to it again. I'm not gonna run it down for y'all. Y'all go back and listen to it again or rewatch this video just to be able to interact and kind of give me your thoughts. This has been another episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. Thank y'all for always tuning in. I'm gonna keep on doing this, keep on persevering, because I'm getting a lot out of this, a lot of great sense everywhere. All right, y'all. Y'all check me out tomorrow. Same time, same place, 11 o'clock here on DGTA TV. I'm going to get up out of here. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. Peace.